What's good, YouTube? So it's been a few days since apparently the Derek Chauvin sentencing. A lot of people have voiced their opinions on it. I mean, it honestly doesn't matter. I mean, it's good to for people to voice their opinion because one day you never know when, but you may be a part of a jury in a historic case like this. It's possible. So I mean, it's important to hear from people's perspectives and different opinions because who knows who will be on that next big case, that next big historic case that pertains to a serious issue in our country. Well, I mean, after Derek Chauvin got sentenced on June the 25th, 2021, and it sparked a lot of reaction from just the media and everybody. He got, he got, well, he was convicted of like count of second degree murder and was sentenced to 22 and a half years, which was what I think a lot of people were expecting. Because you got to think second degree murder, I mean, you can get about 10 to 20 years is what the average sentencing. And Derek Chauvin, he did get the higher end of it. And he definitely got the higher end of what most police officers on average have been convicted of. It's not, he didn't get the highest sentencing, but I mean, I think it was pretty appropriate. I think what we need to talk about is I think people's overall opinion of the sentencing. You got a lot of people, especially from the African American community, who think he should have got more time. He should have got 40 years the max. So I mean, I don't think that would change a whole lot. I mean, looking at the consequences of this case for Derek Chauvin, he's gonna have to serve a minimum of 15. So he'll be getting out about in his 60s. He was, I think he's 49 years old right now. So he'll, I don't think he'll be able to get an appeal. I think it's pretty much a done deal. So he'll be serving at least 15 years in prison, and he's gonna be a convicted felon for the rest of his life. So, and with being a convicted felon, I mean, that's almost a life sentence right there. Because I mean, there's all kinds of consequences that consist of that carry on for the rest of a defendant's life. Now, I think that the judge did a good job here. Like I said, the judge said that he was not going to be allowing the court of public opinion to weigh in on this case. And he gave a sentencing based off the statutes. And with the statutes, I mean, everything that happened within this case made sense. I mean, if you watched, the sentencing of Derek Chauvin, if you actually watched, I mean, it was kind of disturbing, to say the least. I mean, you sit here and to look at Derek Chauvin's reactions to like all the people that were talking to him, it's pretty interesting. Obviously, we see Derek, we see my bad, we see George Floyd's brother talk once. I think his name, Philanese Floyd. He comes out and talks. And he has other family members that come out and give their spill, and it was very chilling to watch that sentencing. I think it was one of George Floyd's brothers who commented, talking about he was directly speaking to Derek Chauvin, trying to ask him the question of why did he have to have his knee on George's neck for that long. That's basically just what he said, and it's crazy to me. You know, I'll never know why. I don't think it really matters. The fact it's done deal now, and he's going downtown for it. But I think that most interesting take that I saw from that sentencing was, Derek Chauvin's own mother coming in and commenting. I mean, a lot of people took her comments very negatively. And, they're really pissed off and upset with George, Derek's mother, about how they said she was selfish and all this other stuff for just her comments. And you can go back on YouTube and watch that sentencing. So in my opinion, well, she's the mother of this man, so I really can't speak for how a person would feel if their child went off and did something crazy like that. I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to judge her. I say that she's a terrible person for what she said out there in court, but I do understand that she is the mother of this man. So, you know, we know that moms have that unconditional love, and they love their sons no matter what they do. So, I'm just gonna let that rest. I'm not gonna say anything about, not gonna comment anything about what she said, or say that she's a bad person or anything. She's just a mother, and I don't know. I don't think she really knows how to feel after seeing that video, if she did see it, and after just witnessing. As a parent, you love your children. It's hard to see them fall off like that, and it's hard to react to that. So I can't really speak on that. But back to Derek Chauvin's sentencing, is that I think it's appropriate. Second degree murder usually carries to about 10 to 20 years, possibly 30. So he got right about what the higher end of the punishment. So I don't see what's the problem about that. I really don't. And I really do believe that the Derek Chauvin's case is an example of the justice system doing what it's supposed to do. I think people should have faith in the justice system, as it did handle this case very well. It's hard to argue that it didn't, because you talk to any lawyer, any expert, when it comes to this type of situation, they'll probably agree to you. Sentencing was appropriate. It just was. It is what it was. For all those that think that he should have got more time, you can try to argue for that, but based on all the statutes of this case, the sentencing was very appropriate. It's hard to argue that it wasn't. And the punishments and the consequences of this older police officer's actions, never going away. Honestly, he's going away for a long time. Even if he only serves 15 years, that's a big chunk of your life. Heck, I'm only 21, and 15 years, that's like 60% of my life right there. So it is a hefty sentence, hefty one. And even when he does get out, his life is ruined. He's never gonna be able to do the things that he used to do again. Obviously his police career is over, but obviously his career in general is over. Being a convicted felon, being a convicted felon, and being well known for this situation in which Derek Chauvin is, he's never gonna be able to live this down ever for the rest of his life. But people are talking about how his punishment wasn't severe enough. What happened to Derek Chauvin is not a slap on the wrist. What happened to this man, what this man did, and the consequences of his actions, you gotta understand, people, he did not get a slap on the wrist. Like, this man's life is over. Regardless of he only serves 15 to 20 years, his life is definitely over. It's finished. He's never gonna be able to live this down. He's never gonna be able to, like I said, his career is over. I don't even know if he's ever gonna be able to work anywhere again. Anybody's ever gonna be able to take him. He's probably gonna live with his mom for the rest of his life when he gets out of prison, because he's done. And y'all think about how his wife divorced him, and I'm not sure how that went, but I'm pretty sure she's gonna take everything from him too. She's probably in divorce court right now, working with some attorneys, ready to just get everything from this guy, man. So if you've ever been through the divorce court, I mean, it's rough. You ever been through a divorce? I mean, and you see how, and with this situation, I mean, his wife is definitely gonna eat his lunch, and with the whole divorce process. So we already know this guy. He's lost everything. I mean, he's lost everything basically. His career, his family, I mean, everything. His money. I don't think he's gonna get a pension. At least I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they're gonna take that. They haven't taken it already. He's done. He's done. There's no slap on the wrist punishment here. And even when you look Derek Chauvin up online, I mean, like look at the dude. I mean, they got him on here on Wikipedia. American former police officer is his title. Wow, former police officer. So they do have it on here that he was a police officer. But I mean, you just look at his like how they got him on here as Wikipedia. I mean, dude's gonna be forever known as that guy. He's gonna be forever known as the corrupt police officer who killed a helpless man. So I mean, there's no slap on the wrist punishment. And like I said, you look at like I said, even Wikipedia showing it. I mean, he was convicted of all three charges. I mean, dude's gonna be forever known as this guy. This stigma, he's never gonna be able to live this down. So it's no slap on the wrist for him. And I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be the slap on the wrist for any of his accomplices, the other three cops as well. They're probably gonna get the book thrown at them in this case. I feel like Derek Chauvin got the book thrown at him. I mean, 22 and a half years is a hefty sentence. You know, you got a lot of people who are saying, well, man, that's nothing. I mean, I've seen people get 30, 40 years for non-violent drug offense. I mean, there's no point in comparing cases, man, because there's plenty of situations, as many situations have you seen where people have had the book thrown at them, and more specifically, black people have had the book thrown at them in the justice system. I mean, there's been plenty of situations where the justice system has been very lenient on African Americans. I mean, just being honest, there's plenty of situations. I know there's this other situation where people are talking about this black police officer who got 12 years for killing a white woman. And I mean, not that matters. This matters, but it's just there's no real way of just saying or proving that the justice system is extra hard on African Americans. There's no real proof of it because you look at the statistics. It just there's no statistical evidence that displays that the justice system throws the book on African American people on minorities. I mean, you know, you have me there on when it comes to police officers. They usually do get the light end of the book because we've seen it. I mean, I'm pretty sure statistically, data backs that up. When it comes to just the justice system being unfair to minorities and black people specifically, I mean, it's just no proof, and that's the problem. There's just no proof of that because you look at the statistical evidence. I mean, there's like I said, there's just plenty of situations where black people have gotten the better end of the deal. So I mean, I can't really say that the justice system just tends to throw the book at black people because it's just not been proven statistically. So you have to be careful there when we try to make those statements about the justice system. I mean, the justice system is still not perfect, and I don't know if it ever will be because but I do think it's improving. I do think there's been a whole lot of improvements that have been made over the decades. So I mean, there is a lot of hope to have there, and I don't think we need to worry about that. So, but what I will say is that, like I said, for all the people who are complaining about Derek Chauvin's sentence and saying that it wasn't fair, he should have got more, and this is a slap on the wrist. I mean, it's definitely not a slap on the wrist. Like I said, his life is over. You ain't gotta worry about that, y'all. I mean, his life is definitely over. What he did was horrible, and he's gonna pay for it for the rest of his life. I mean, regardless, I mean, like I said, people don't understand that a life sentence isn't necessarily a life sentence. I mean, you can be sentenced to 10, 15 years in prison, and your life can still be ruined by what you've done. Because once you get that on your record, that felony, I mean, that felony within itself is a life sentence. People don't understand that. I mean, when you get convicted, and people talk about child molesters complaining about how they only get 5 to 7 years, which I mean, we've seen plenty of situations where, child molesters and other different type of rapists don't get that big of a punishment compared to when we talk about sentencing. We see that situation a lot, and a lot of people complain about that. I understand that, but one fact that people tend to underestimate is the punishment of their records. You know, like I said, you get convicted of a sex crime, man. I mean, your life is over. At least in my opinion, because I mean, you get that sex offender on your record forever. You have to register. And I mean, if you know anybody who's ever been a registered sex offender, I mean, that's a deal breaker. It's very hard to progress and move up the social ladder or just the labor market. Move up in the labor market, move up, and any business, any field of work with that on your record is very hard. And for guys like Derek Chauvin here, who have any type of criminal record, I mean, it's very hard, man. It's very hard for people to move on up and conduct themselves and do well in the labor force, in the labor market. And you got, stuff that you can't get rid of. You got baggage that you can't get rid of. It's really tough. So I mean, it's a life sentence in that regard. So I wouldn't complain about it. I think the sentencing was appropriate, and it's definitely not a slap on the wrist. So I'll holler at y'all later. Y'all have a good day.